Church is making a very specific appeal to divorced Catholics. It's an attempt to keep them in the faith. But as you might imagine, the Catholic Archdiocese in Orange County doesn't like the idea at all. Our Dave Lopez joins us live now from Anaheim, and he has details of this story. Dave.
Well, divorced Catholics, that is the big appeal, and then once they're here, they don't want to leave. I am standing in what used to be an office complex. It is now the headquarters of St. Matthew American Catholic Church, not to be confused with the mainstream Catholicism that so many millions across the nation are familiar with. This is an offshoot of the Catholic Church. It is a small group, about 200 can fit in here. They do it 3 times every Sunday. It is growing, and the Archdiocese of Orange County is quite concerned about it.
It was too rigid. It was so structured.
Dana Rinaldi rattles off the reasons why she and her husband were married in an American Catholic community rather than the Catholic Church.
This church is always going to be here, whether it be in a building or the back of a pickup truck.
This was a second marriage. I'm a second marriage.
Okay. Catherine Gonzalez, a divorced Catholic, knew the Catholic Church would never accept her second marriage. So she came to the American Catholic community with a lot of company.
I'm very comfortable here and know that I'm getting what I need spiritually.
This independent church is run by ex-priests who specifically target divorced Catholics who want to remarry. Once in, they normally stay.
He just has this magnetism about him.
He is Father Peter Hickman, the pastor of the American Catholic Church, some 400 members strong in Anaheim.
We are in the business of saving souls.
But the Catholic Diocese of Orange considers St. Matthew's Church an evil enemy, writing in its official newsletter, quote, St. Matthew's is not a Roman Catholic church, and marriages attempted before its priests or ministers are invalid for a Catholic.
They come to us, we don't go to them.
Is it that simple? They want to be married and they know they can't in the church because they've gone through a divorce?
It can be very simple. It can be just a matter of where they want to have their wedding to take place.
And these ex-priests can't understand. Why all the fuss?
We're living according to our conscience.
So it's really simply a separate denomination.
It's so beautiful to be able to help people that I always felt that needed help.
And if you can't get the people through the front door, how about the side door or the back door?
And that side door and those back doors are bulging, not only here at this church, but there is another congregation of this same type of Catholicism operating in the Lakewood area. There are a few in the Southern California area as well, closer to downtown Los Angeles, and it continues to grow. We tried to get a reaction from the diocese spokesman, but he was unavailable today. But the statement from the Catholic Diocese speaks for itself. Any Catholic, they say, who goes to this church, this congregation, although they feel they're getting the sacraments, is not. And the people who run this church, the ex-priests who run this church, say all they're doing is serving God and what people need and want. Reporting live from St. Matthew's, I'm Dave Lopez. Back to you in the studio.
Dave,
go ahead, Beverly.
No, we were both asking the same question about the status of these priests. Why did they become ex?
Most of them married, many of them married and divorced. They had their own falling out with the Catholic Church, but they say that they still feel that they have a need to serve. And as I said, as many of you know, many of us know who follow the Catholic religion or who are Catholics, one of the underlying problems with the Church is its feelings on priests who cannot marry and on second marriages. It just is impossible to remain a Catholic and be married for a second time.
We thank you for your report, Dave. Thanks, Dave.
Surrounding an Orange County church that some people say performs bogus marriages. The church calls itself Catholic, but Roman Catholics say there's nothing Catholic about St. Matthew's in the city of Orange. Vicki Vargas is live. She's at that church. She's got the story for us. Explain, Vicki.
Kelly, the difference, according to organizers here at St. Matthew's, is that this is an American Catholic church, not a Roman Catholic church. And on any given Sunday, they will fill these pews with about 200 people. Of course, the business is booming the biggest in the wedding department because they are performing about 300 marriages a year. It was a wedding ceremony steeped in church traditions, from the high mass to the open communion to the marriage blessing from the priest.
The newly married Mr. and Mrs. Matthew Edward Rinaldi.
But it was not a Roman Catholic wedding.
It allowed us to be blessed without pressure or fear. It just gave us the freedom to celebrate our wedding day the way we wanted to celebrate it.
Still, the newlyweds say they are Catholic. They joined St. Matthew's Old Catholic Church because of its new ideas. Here, 2 of the 3 priests are married. Couples can use birth control, and divorced couples are allowed to remarry at the altar.
Well, I think it's the fact that we're offering people a viable alternative, a way of practicing their Catholic faith in a contemporary setting.
But the local archdiocese accuses the 9-year-old church of misleading its parishioners and falsely advertising its Catholic weddings.
As far as we're concerned, it's no more legitimate than getting married in a wedding chapel at Las Vegas or before a Justice of the Peace in City Hall.
The Roman Catholics even issued an official warning in a church newsletter, advising parishioners their marriages were not, quote, valid.
I think sometimes people may become confused because we are in fact Catholic. I am a Catholic priest. However, we never portray ourselves as being Roman Catholic.
And that's the validity that official warning was about, whether or not these marriages were recognized by the Roman Catholic Church. There are, by the way, about 20 of these denominations in all of California. I'm Vicki Vargas, reporting live from the city of Orange. Chuck, Kelly, back to you.
María Teresa, muchísimas gracias.
Catholic light, all the religion but only half the guilt. We're talking about a branch of the Catholic Church that says contraception is all right, divorce is acceptable, and priests can marry. Michelle Geely has that story.
Okay.
And in Christmas, we're going to use the gold chalice and the gold
For Christmas Mass.
vessels. Right.
Dana Rinaldi was raised in the Jewish faith, but like countless baby boomers, she had a tough time molding the religion to fit in with her life.
This cabinet over here will be used for the actual wine and storage of.
Enter St. Matthew Catholic Church in Orange. Unlike the Roman Catholic Church, St. Matthew's, based on what's known as Old Catholic teachings, offered Rinaldi an alternative, what she calls a more flexible approach to Catholicism. During her wedding here a year and a half ago, Rinaldi's mother was able to walk her down the aisle, and she and her husband even ended their ceremony with an energetic high five. It was these choices that Rinaldi cherishes.
We had a high mass wedding. We had an open communion where everyone who came as my guests could come and receive communion, no matter who they had learned their faith from and what teachings they had been taught under, whether it be Roman Catholic or Protestant or Episcopalian.
And the difference between this Old Catholic or American Catholic Church and the more widely known Roman Catholic churches don't end there. St. Matthew's priests can marry. The use of contraceptives is not considered a sin. Women are encouraged to be more involved in the church, and divorcees can remarry with the church's blessing. Personal choices that appeal to the 30 and 40-something crowd. It's just these teachings that have lured wayward Roman Catholics away and have encouraged members of other faiths to join St. Matthew's.
I think people can come here and feel that they're being honest with who they are and what they're doing. They don't have to feel like they're being hypocritical. And yes, they have more freedom over the issues of their own lives. We're not seeking to try to control and regulate their lives. We're seeking to inspire them to the higher calling of Christ to love one another.
Love is on the minds of many who come through the doors of St. Matthew's. Some 300 marriages are performed a year. The church advertises that divorced Roman Catholics can remarry here. It's publicity that has angered the Roman Catholic Diocese of Orange, prompting warnings like this one to appear in Sunday church bulletins. The marriages, the diocese claims, are not valid for a Catholic.
People have to follow their conscience.
Religious studies professor George St. Laurent was once a priest. He's now married but is still very active in the Roman Catholic Church. St. Laurent is troubled by the tendency of Catholics to feel they must leave the church because they sin. He says it's a place of sinners.
There are all kinds of ethical problems about being a good Catholic. There are politicians who are completely corrupt, and they're Catholics. They don't have to leave the Roman Catholic Church.
What we're doing is offering another alternative without some of the disciplines of the Roman Catholic Church that are pretty much outmoded.
The right to choose what St. Matthew's is based on. In Orange, Michelle Geely, Channel 9 News.
On one important issue, Roman Catholics and American Catholics agree. They do not support abortion.
Over wedding advertisements has a small Catholic church in Orange exchanging blows with the leadership of the Roman Catholic Church in Orange County. OCN's Nancy Aziz has more.
It is my joy, privilege, and honor to be able to present to you for the very first time the newly married Mr. and Mrs. Matthew Edward Rinaldi.
Dana and Matthew Rinaldi said their I do's at St. Matthew Catholic Church. As Dana Rinaldi tells it, the couple chose St. Matthew because the Roman Catholic faith was too prohibitive.
Who are they to tell me who I can have as my parents, my children's parents, if something should happen to me? And who are they to choose what type of birth control that we should decide to use?
About 300 couples like the Rinaldis marry at the church each year. Many of them are divorcees who can't remarry in the Roman Catholic Church unless the church first grants an annulment. Recently, St. Matthew has come under attack from the Diocese of Orange for advertising Catholic weddings for couples who can't be married in the Roman Catholic Church. The diocese sent out notices to inform its member churches about St. Matthew.
It's rather peculiar to me that they would say that we're portraying ourselves as Roman Catholic. We never have claimed to be Roman Catholic, and we always make it clear in all of our literature and all of our contacts that we are a distinct church.
Father Peter Hickman says American Catholic churches like St. Matthew teach the Pope is fallible, whereas the Roman Catholic Church says he is infallible. There are several other differences.
Priests are allowed to marry and to raise families. Married people who have been divorced can remarry and still receive the sacraments. We do make the sacraments of our church available to all baptized Christians, so we practice open communion. And artificial contraception is not a sin in our church.
Those differences attracted Father Thomas Davis, who was ordained as a Roman Catholic priest but left the church to marry. He now ministers at an American Catholic church in Lakewood.
We're targeting not the Roman Catholics who are in the pews and happy and are being served by our Roman brothers and sisters, but we're looking at those who aren't being served, that have no place to go, to call home.
The Diocese of Orange was unavailable for comment, but one official here at the Holy Family Cathedral of Orange, the principal church for the diocese, says it's unfortunate to see churches fighting, but that St. Matthew's needs to be perfectly clear.
There should be clarity on their part in indicating that they are not a Roman Catholic church, and that marriages by Roman Catholics who may go there thinking that it is, I think that's somewhat disingenuous of them.
Father Hickman maintains his church has always told parishioners their marriages would not be recognized by the Roman Catholic Church. He says the real reason for the attack is control.
The Diocese of Orange seeks to control and regulate the lives of its members, and one way of doing that is to deprive certain people of the sacraments if they break the rules. Well, here they have access to the sacraments, so it's sort of undermining their discipline.
And parishioners like Dana Rinaldi, who came to the church for acceptance, say the controversy will only strengthen the American Catholic Church.
There is going to be no demise of this church. You cannot break us apart because we are what we are and where we're supposed to be, no matter who tries to come upon us.
Now I'm happy to kiss your wife.
In Orange, Nancy Aziz, OCN.
St. Matthew currently serves over 400 parishioners.
A small Catholic church is facing sharp criticism tonight from Roman Catholic leaders. At issue, the church's decision to marry divorced Catholics. We get the full story now from Eyewitness News reporter Rick Romero.
When the Rinaldis got married last year, it was not your traditional Roman Catholic wedding.
The newly married Mr. and Mrs. Matthew Edward Rinaldi.
But then the Rinaldis weren't married in a Roman Catholic church, because its traditions would have held them back.
I wanted to have my own wedding done my way through my husband and I's love for each other as it would be represented in our wedding. And through St. Matthew, we were able to do that exactly our way, our wedding.
One of 20 American Catholic churches in Southern California, St. Matthew in Orange began in 1985 with a contemporary slant to Catholic teachings.
We do not exclude divorced people who remarry from the sacraments of the church. We practice open communion, and in that we make the sacraments available to all baptized Christians. Priests and bishops are free to marry and to raise families of their own. We're open to women being more involved in the ministry of the church. And so in these ways, we are much different than the Roman Catholic Church.
And because American Catholic beliefs differ from that of Roman Catholics, the Diocese of Orange has issued a warning in church bulletins that St. Matthew advertises it will marry couples even if divorced, and they still will remain Roman Catholics in good standing.
Yeah,
but Father Hickman says that's not the case.
We are reaching out to the unchurched, in particular Roman Catholics who are currently unchurched due to the policies of the Roman Catholic Church. That's what we're doing. We're not trying to pull members in good standing and practicing Catholics out of their own parishes. We think that's great. They should continue on where they are at. But we're trying to offer a ministry to people that the Roman Catholic Church can no longer minister to.
Now, after talking to Father Hickman here at St. Matthew, we did attempt to talk to the Diocese of Orange, but their spokesperson is out of town until the end of the week. In the city of Orange, this is Rick Romero, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.